Hi, I'm Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. I'm going to demonstrate how to make a really cute summer skirt, and the pattern that I'm using is Simplicity New Look, and New Look is their easy line of patterns. So it's great if you are a beginner or you want a really quick project. I highly suggest the New Look line. Now you'll notice when you're looking at this skirt on the picture here that it has a scalloped edge at the bottom. That's not part of the pattern instructions. The fabric was purchased with that scalloped edge. So if you're interested in using this kind of fabric, look at Joann Fabrics and Crafts. I've seen it there on occasion. Or go on the internet and check out the internet fabric stores. So let's get started. Here is the pattern that I'm using, and this is a simplicity pattern called New Look. This is their easy line of patterns that are designed for beginners or for people who want a very quick project. I'm doing this skirt right here. The shirt top is not in this pattern, only the skirt. There's 3 different views. I'm doing view C, which is the shorter version. The process is the same for all 3 versions. You're just cutting your fabric a little longer. The pattern number, which is listed up here in the top right hand corner, is 10077, and in this pattern it has sizes 8 through 20. One of the most common questions I am asked when doing these clothing videos is, well, what's the supply list? How much fabric do I need? When you turn the pattern envelope over, you will get all of that information. For instance, to determine your size, measure your body. So it's 8 through 20. Read down that column. Then, depending on the view, remember we're doing view C, it'll give you the information on how much fabric you will need depending on your size. And then if there's any additional supplies, that will be listed down here at the bottom. If you do not know how to read a pattern, click on the link in the upper right hand corner. It will take you to a detailed video on how to read patterns. Once you watch that video, everything that I do in this video will make more sense to you. So I highly advise you watch that video. Open the pattern instructions inside the envelope. Look for the cutting layouts section and look for view C layout. It says to cut crosswise. I will show in a moment what that means to do. You will need pieces 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 6 and 7 is the main skirt, the bottom of the skirt. 3 are the pockets, and 4 and 5 are the casings for the front and back. That holds the elastic. This is what it means to cut on the crosswise. When you purchase your fabric off of the bolt, your selvage edges are always folded together. What it means to fold crosswise is you're going to unfold your fabric this way and then take the raw edges at each end and bring them in towards the center to where the raw edges meet. Here are the raw edges that have been brought together in the center. Actually, this is not quite center. It's a little off center because the front piece is larger. So you're actually placing it a little off center. So here is the main skirt portion, front and back. Here is the pocket. When you're laying out your 2 larger pieces, pay attention to where it is indicated fold line. So here's a fold of the fabric, and then on the other side is the other fold. So make sure you pay attention to where the markings are. After you've cut these out, then unfold all of this and lay your 2 pieces for the waistband. So it will be single layer cut. In other words, cutting through just one thickness. Before you begin cutting the pattern out, make sure you highlight your size to cut on. For instance, it starts here with the size 8 out to the 20. Select a line and then highlight it so that you make sure you cut on the correct line. I have pattern piece number 6. This is the skirt front, and I've brought the front sides of the fabric together. Lay the pattern piece back on top, and you're going to mark the notches and where the pleats are. And I've got it highlighted here so you can see it better. So what I like to do is you can either take a fabric marker or a fabric pencil, marking pencil, or even tailor's chalk, and put a mark here, and I just flip it over and know that I need to put another mark on the other side. To mark the pleats, all I do is fold my pattern piece back to where the fold is right on that dash line. Then mark where that dart seam is going to be. And I'm going to move my fabric a little bit and then go to the next dash line. And here it is here, and mark your fabric. There are 4 on this side of the front piece. Then flip your fabric over to the other side. Lay your pattern piece on top and mark those lines again all the way across. On the piece for the back, there's a notch here. Highlight your dart according to your size, and then there's another notch over here. So make sure you mark those notches. And how I do the dart is, because I've got it highlighted, it's going to be really easy to find it. I just fold it over right there and mark that line, then fold it again to the next one and mark your line. And then you're going to see this large V formation. And then make sure you do those markings on the other side. When cutting out the pocket, after you've cut around this pattern once, then you need to pick it up and move it onto another section of the fabric and cut it out again so that you wind up with 4 pieces. So there's going to be 2 pieces for each pocket. There are notches down here and here. Then there are 2 little circle dots that you also need to mark on the back of your fabric. For the waistband and or casing for the elastic, you'll find on the front piece there's 2 notches, 1 at each end, and then on the piece for the back there's a notch at each end plus 2 more on one edge of the piece. To make your pleats, fold the fabric front sides together and match up the first 2 lines. Here's one on this side and one on the other side. So you want to make sure they are together. Place a few pins to hold and then stitch along the line. Back stitch at the beginning and the end. So stitch all of your pleats on the front section. To press your pleats, take this fold and place that center fold right over the stitch line. So you're opening it up like this and putting it down. Then take your iron and press all of your pleats like this. Then go to your sewing machine and do a machine basting stitch close to the edge to hold your pleats in place. On the back of the skirt there are 2 darts. So again, fold your fabric front sides together. Match the line with the line on the other side of the dart. And you'll notice it starts about a ½ inch away from the fold and gradually goes straight down to the very edge of the fold over here. So back stitch up here, stitch down, and back stitch here, as close to the fold as you can get. Press both darts towards the center of the skirt. Take 2 of your pocket pieces and make sure they are opposite of each other. For instance, I have the back sides of the fabric together and they match up. Take each piece and place it on opposite sides of the skirt on the front. Bring front sides together. Here is the waist and here is the bottom of the pocket. Stitch 3/8 of an inch seam along here. Then in the instructions it says to do an understitch, which that means is to go out, I went out about 1/8 of an inch, and do another line of stitching. Or instead of doing the understitch, do an overlock or overcast stitch along here. The reason why you either do the first method or the second method is to help keep the fabric from unraveling. If you don't know how to do an overcast or overlock stitch on your sewing machine, click on the link in the upper right hand corner and it will give you detailed instructions on how to overcast your seams. On the skirt back, put the other part of the pockets on each side of the skirt. And if you haven't already done so, I recommend you do your overcast or overlock stitch all the way down to the bottom of the skirt, and I would do that on all of your side seams. After you are done stitching, press the seam along here, then unfold and press, and you're pressing this seam towards the pocket. This next stitch is not in the instructions on the pattern sheet, but I think it gives your garment a more finished look. So on the pocket side, near your seam, top stitch close to that seam, and it will give a really nice finished look to your pockets. Bring front sides together. You're bringing the front and back section of the skirt together. Place pins along the edges here. And then match your circle dots up here. Put a pin there. And then over here, you have another circle dot area to pin. And then place a pin up here. Also pin your pocket edges together. And from this circle dot on down to the bottom of the skirt, stitch 5/8 of an inch seam, and from this pin up, stitch 5/8 of an inch seam. Then, beginning over here from this circle dot, and from this seam, come in and stitch 5/8 of an inch seam all the way around over to there. Then I suggest that you do an overlock or overcast stitch along the pocket edge. Then go to the other side seam and match the pockets up and stitch that side together. The next step they ask you to do is to clip your side seam here, going from the edge going in. The reason for that is that they are assuming you're going to press your side seam open. But I'm not going to press my side seam open. I don't want to clip because I'm using 100% cotton fabric and it does unravel. So I don't want to cut this and increase my risk for this lower edge of the pocket seam unraveling. So I won't cut, and I'm just going to press my seam all to one side of the skirt. Bring your waistbands or the casing strips front sides together. At one end only, you're going to leave the opening between the two circle dots open. You're not going to stitch over that. So stitch from the raw edge up to the first circle dot, and then stitch from this circle dot to the raw edge. And always back stitch at the beginning and end of each seam. This particular opening is used for the elastic to be inserted later. At the other end of the strips, stitch all the way across, and the seam width is 5/8 inch. Press both seams open. Fold the casing in half and press it all the way around. Have the back section of the skirt facing up. Take your casing band and place it around the top edge of the skirt. The side of the casing band that has the notches on it are placed against the front side of the back section of the skirt. So make sure you match those. Also, make sure that the opening for the elastic in the casing is also facing up at you. As you are pinning the casing on at the waistline, make sure you're pinning the pockets going towards the front center section. So they're going this way. Here's the back section of the skirt. Here's the front section. Here's the edge of the pocket. It's going in towards that front section. So go ahead and pin your casing all the way around the top edge. Then stitch 5/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around the top. Then either stitch 1/4 inch away from your first line of stitching coming out towards the edge of the fabric, stitching all the way around, or do your overcast stitches along the raw edge. Press the seam of the casing going down towards the skirt. Measure the size of your waist and cut your elastic 1 inch longer. Place a large safety pin at the end of the elastic and insert the elastic with the pin in it at the opening and begin pushing your elastic through. And you gather it up, push against that pin, and gather and pull. Keep gathering the fabric up and pushing the elastic through until the safety pin comes out at the other end. Pin the ends together, try the skirt on, and make any adjustments in the length of elastic to make sure that you can comfortably get it on and off. Overlap the ends and stitch a rectangle shape around the ends of the elastic, and I recommend that you go around 2 times. Push the elastic back in, and then to close up the elastic opening, then I recommend you use a needle and thread. You can either do a ladder stitch, and if you're not sure how to do a ladder stitch, click on the link in the upper right hand corner and it will take you to a video to show you how to do the stitch. Or you can just start underneath the edge of the opening to hide the knot, and then you could go over to the other side, grab the edge of the opening, go over to the other side again, and pull it through. And you would just keep going around until you've got all the way to the end. Once you got down here to the end, you're going to do one more stitch in the same place that you just did your last stitch. So insert the needle in and pull it out, and you'll have a little bit of a loop here, and just stick your needle, let me get a hold of it here, stick your needle back through the loop and pull tight. Then, to hide the end of the thread, insert your needle back into where you just came out of and go in about, at least a half an inch to an inch, and then come back out again. Then take a pair of scissors and cut. At each side seam of the casing, stitch right down in through that side seam of the casing, going through all of the layers of the elastic and the casing. This helps to prevent the elastic from getting twisted inside of the casing. Before you hem the skirt, try it on and check the length. You want to allow, I would recommend, anywhere between 2 inches and 2.5 inches to fold over for your hem. Once you've determined the hem length, take the very bottom edge of the skirt and fold it over 1/4 inch and press. Fold it again and press. And mine is about 2 inches here. Then stitch real close to the edge right along here. There are many different styles of hemming a garment. For instance, on my skirt, I went to my serger machine and used my serger and serged the edge. Then I took the skirt, folded it over about 2 inches, and from the front side used a twin needle and did a double line of stitching, and it gives a really nice finished edge. If you are interested in learning how to use a twin needle, click on the link in the upper right hand corner, and it's called Beginner's Circle Skirt, and in that video I demonstrate how to thread your machine and use a twin needle. For more clothing projects such as this circle top, play this video until a green screen appears and then click on the links. If you like this video, please click on thumbs up, and don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red subscribe button down there in the lower right hand corner of your screen. Click on the bell and enter your email address so you receive those email notifications about my latest video. If you're not receiving the emails, then go to your cell phone or iPad, click on settings, and turn notifications on. This is Maria, this is Jamie, this is Bob, this is Connie, and you all know Manny. Bye-bye.